Megatron, I've detected the Omega Key. It lies beyond the train tunnel.
Move out, Decepticons!
Hello Autobots and Decepticons, my name is Somungry, and I'd like to welcome you guys back to some more Transformers War for Cybertron Decepticon campaign. In the last episode we learned about Soundwave and all his loyal mini cassette minions. So in this episode I will touch on Soundwave in the storyline as much as I can, and then we will talk a little bit about the episode as well if I got time.
Scans reveal core structural integrity surrounding this maintenance access door.
Starscream, this is Brawl. We're pinned down outside Zeta Prime's vaults. We need air support. Excellent. Brawl is already near the Omega Key.
But I wanted to talk just a little bit about his story mode or not his story mode, but his storyline in the G1 series, since we did not get to talk about that at all last time. And a lot of it does follow along the lines of what we already heard with Starscream, Thundercracker, Megatron, etc. Those guys. So let's get to it. Soundwave was one of Megatron's first Decepticons, and he was an intelligence officer on Cybertron. And this was during the war back in the day, 9 million years ago, during the golden age of Cybertron. And so he didn't really fight in the battles too often. He instead kind of was in the back of the line and sent off his Decepticon mini cassettes into battle and kind of ordered them around so that they would gather the intelligence and fight for him. So he never really gets his hands dirty. So in my opinion, he's a pretty smart Decepticon. And so this war goes by. About 5 million years later, they're running out of energy on Cybertron, and so Soundwave is in charge of trying to figure out how the Autobots are dealing with this. So he disguises himself as a lamppost out of all things, and so he poses as one of these lampposts on the streets of Iacon, and he was able to deploy out Laserbeak so that he could get a closer look on the Autobots, and this is where he learns of the Autobots going to different planets to trying to get energy. And so Laserbeak brings back the information, and this is kind of where we picked up from all the other Decepticon G1 stories. As the Autobots are boarding the Ark, they crash land on Earth because of the Decepticons battling, and then
Is now clear.
Let us speak with Brawl then. I want to hear how my war is going. Waiting for your orders, Megatron. Report, Brawl. The Autobots are dug in, and our precious air commander won't provide support. Enough excuses. Where is Zeta Prime? He's just beyond those doors, Lord Megatron. Dark Energon! Impossible!
It will take more than a speck of dark energon to breach the armor of our vaults. Surrender now, Megatron, and I will consider sparing your life.
You dare threaten me? Me?
So be it, Megatron. I leave you to your own utility.
Oh, great. Here we go.
Brawl! Call in the Dark Energon bombers! But, Megatron, there's too much firepower. Do as I have ordered, Brawl! Yes, Megatron. Target these courses. Everyone else, clear the street!
so the ship crashes, and we find ourselves sitting on Earth, Autobots and Decepticons fighting each other over and over, with the Decepticons always retreating because the Autobots spoiled their plan.
Bombers inbound!
Well, that was a complete disaster.
Silence! Obviously, our bombers are incompetent, Lord Megatron. If I may make a suggestion, disabling the anti-aircraft guns would open the way for our air support.
An excellent thought, Brawl. Carry it out.
Decepticons, take those guns!
And a couple things that I failed to mention that a couple people brought up in the comments last time is Soundwave does have a photographic memory, and it is also said that Soundwave was actually Starscream's understudy as well.
No one Decepticons back! Destroy those guns by any means necessary! You heard, Lord Megatron! Decepticons! Lay down cover fire while we take that building! Go, go, go!
And one of Soundwave's very first missions on Earth, he was seeking to exploit data that he had gathered from Earth for a short time on the planet, and he actually found himself in the Autobot base as his cassette player mode, and he found a human friend, Spike Witwicky, and he was unaware of what Soundwave's true nature was. He didn't know that Soundwave was actually this tape player, and so he brought him into the ship and didn't even know that. And since Soundwave was able to be in there so far, he was able to release Ravage, and he gathered data from the Autobots' computers. And then he learned that the Sherman Dam would be a good place for energy, so he relayed this back to Megatron, and he instructed Rumble to cause this big earthquake on the Sherman Dam, and this would generate power to create a tidal wave that would maximize the plant's energy output. But their plans were spoiled by the Autobots as usual. A short time after that, Soundwave did participate in a very important act in the Transformers history, although it was kind of not a good decision by himself, as I will explain here. We already learned about Skyfire. He's also known as Jetfire, and he was frozen in the tundra of Antarctica, and this is where they dug him up, they meaning the Decepticon, Starscream, and Soundwave was actually responsible to giving him a 1,000,000-volt shock to his system, which actually awoke Skyfire.
Nice! Takes one gun to blow up the other!
Megatron, the controls are overloaded.
Move, Decepticons!
Oh, I always wanted to do that. Soundwave with the epic suicide. Alright guys, I will pick up with the story and where we left off when we get back here.
That almost punched our tickets! I thought Dark Energon was on our side!
Brawl! Call in the bombers! Transmitting the coordinates.
Brawl, this is Starscream. Your request is denied. I won't have you wasting more of my ships.
I see. When did they become your ship, Starscream?
Oh, Lord Megatron. I didn't realize you were there. Air support request approved. But it will be a few cycles before the bombers can reach you. I'm afraid you'll just have to be patient.
We've got Autobot.
Alright, I don't know how it happened because I just suicided Soundwave, but he was able to revive Jetfire, and it was a mistake because Jetfire then sided with the Autobots. Another cool part in the series that I thought would be worth mentioning was the Dinobots and Soundwave. So this big meteor was coming out of the sky, and the Autobots wanted to go investigate so that the Decepticons would not get their hands on this meteor. So they go there, and Optimus orders the Dinobots to guard this meteor. But Soundwave is nearby, and he's sitting back there and hiding, and Soundwave has this ability to read minds. I don't know exactly how this works. I don't know if it only works with like the weak-minded, but he declares that Grimlock is arrogant, Slag is hostile, and Sludge is stupid. So he turns back and uses these weaknesses against the Dinobots and tells Megatron their weaknesses. So Megatron sends in his Seekers, but then later on approaches the Dinobots after they just destroy the Seekers, and he uses his logic, I guess, his powerful logic, and convince the Dinobots to rebel against Optimus and the Autobots. Meanwhile, at the Autobot base, Prime and Ratchet are making these two new Dinobots, Snarl and Swoop, and Wheeljack discovers the meteorite energy is highly unstable. So knowing that this is unstable, Optimus Prime quickly goes to the Dinobots' aid to warn them that it could explode. So Optimus arrives at this meteor site, and the Dinobots are there, but they are ready for him, and so they get into this big fight, and Prime falls because the Dinobots are so big and so powerful. But they do not kill Prime because of what he has taught the Autobots before, that he doesn't kill, they're for good, and whatnot. So the Dinobots then take Optimus to Megatron. So long story short, the new Dinobots are sent in to fight the old Dinobots, and during this battle, the meteorite explodes, and Prime pushes Grimlock to safety. So realizing that Prime just saved Grimlock's life, and Grimlock would not be king without Prime, he realizes that Prime is very strong, the true leader, and he's concerned for the well-being of all of his fellow Autobots. So then Grimlock orders the rest of his Dinobots to take on the Decepticons, and the Decepticons, like always, fly off away like cowards. Later down the road, another part that kind of sticks out to me after learning about Soundwave's history was that he was able to put himself in his tape player mode inside Ironhide's vehicle mode right next to Blaster and spy on a test run of an Ultra plane with neither of the Autobots noticing until he deployed Ravage. So while Blaster was fighting with Ravage, Soundwave managed to escape to report to Megatron what he has seen. And so Starscream was able then to join him and Megatron, and they came back to this laboratory and stole these blueprints for this plane. But something crazy went happen. There was a malfunction, and Soundwave wasn't able to control himself, so he just started ejecting his mini cassettes all over the place, and his flight powers gave out, and he crashed to the ground. But he was able to get repaired from Cybertronium from Cybertron, and he was able to rejoin his fellow Decepticons. Alright, so over the course of the next decade or 2 decades, the Decepticons withdrew from Earth and focused all their efforts in conquering Cybertron entirely. Over this time, Laserbeak and Soundwave and Megatron learned of an upcoming Autobot strike against Cybertron and resolved to cripple their war efforts by destroying Autobot City.
Woohoo! Boom! Eat that, Autobots!
The street looks clear, Megatron.
That should have blown the vault doors clear off.
Good. Brawl, remain here and hold this position. The rest of us will move forward and acquire the Omega Key.
Engaging Decepticons at the Iacon vault.
Fall back! Fall back! That guy is huge!
Split up and flank him! Use the debris for cover!
This is where we get the G1 movie coming in here. And during this battle, you will see Blaster try to get through to Optimus Prime, telling them that the Decepticons are blitzing Autobot City and they need backup. And Soundwave then goes on to jam this radar, and he sends in Ravage, Rumble, Frenzy, and Ratbat to dismantle the communication array on top of it. And this is kind of a cool part. I always thought this was a sweet part in the movie, because then Soundwave's mini cassettes go on to fight Blaster's mini cassettes, so that was pretty sweet. And then we all know what happens next. Megatron and Optimus pretty much beat each other to a pulp, and Hot Rod, of course, ruins the day for Optimus, but I'm not going to get into that. And Megatron asks Soundwave not to leave him there, so Soundwave picks him up and carries him back to Astro Train, being very faithful to Megatron. But Megatron does get dumped, as we all learned in Episode 1, and he then finds Unicron and gets turned into Galvatron. So as time goes on, Soundwave follows Galvatron, Cyclonus, Scourge, and the Sweeps in search of this Astro Belt.
Megatron. You are a persistent one. But breaking into my vaults? You've overstepped yourself.
I won't waste words with you, Zeta Prime. Give me the Omega Key, and I may spare what's left of your city.
And Soundwave, like usual, dispatches all his mini cassettes, and this time he dispatched Ratbat, which we learned about in the last episode, in search of minerals, only for the cassette to discover that the Autobots were already mining it. So something interesting kind of happens after this whole thing goes down. Soundwave and Megatron, or Galvatron I should say, are on a new planet investigating a mysterious sonic weapon.
Never be yours, Megatron!
I look forward to debating that with you in person.
Lord Megatron, help!
I shall use this for the glory of Megatron.
And they discover sound and music were the way of life on this planet. So Soundwave becomes entranced by the planet's perfect melodies, and specifically the Destruction Harmony weapon, which was then shared by the rest of their planet's people.
Look at that floor! What's Zeta up to?
Hey! I'm still functional! I'm still...
Idiot. Decepticons, onward!
You cannot hope to overcome my defenses, Megatron!
So Soundwave starts recording and combining these different melodies in hopes of unleashing it on Autobot City.
Further, Megatron! The sacred vaults are no place for your tainted spark!
Nothing is sacred to me, Zeta Prime. You should have realized that by now. Decepticons, advance!
However, he was then countered by this anti-sound weapon, and Blaster then erased his recordings. So I think there's a pretty long cutscene coming up here with Zeta Prime, so we will pick up after this cutscene.
Finally, the Omega Key is within my... What?
Did you really think it would be that easy?
Come down here, Zeta Prime, and I will give you the answer.
I shall remain where I am. This vantage point will provide an excellent view of your destruction. My will controls this entire chamber, Megatron. I need only close my hand to crush the life out of you.
The floor is glowing! It's everywhere! He's gonna smash us!
So time goes on, a couple more missions go by, and for his last appearance, Soundwave was seen playing back the last piece of information gathered by Ratbat from two human scientists that had discovered the body of Optimus Prime, which Galvatron resolved to destroy once and for all. So that will conclude Soundwave's story.
Do you see now, Megatron? This is my domain.
Your theatrics don't frighten me, Zeta.
Here I have the power to control and create.
Soundwave is a very cool Decepticon. He has a lot of different parts to him. As you know, he is entranced by music. He has all these different little cassettes that he can spit out and kind of order around. And he is also very loyal, even though he has all these different tools to his own abilities that he could almost overthrow other people with the powers that he possesses. He decides to stay loyal to Megatron. So I hope you guys enjoyed the storyline of Soundwave. I thought it was very cool. We split it up into two parts, so I myself learned a lot. And here we are fighting Zeta Prime. So if you guys want to know about Zeta Prime, I did make a video.
All, Zeta? A pathetic army of Energon clones? Is that the best you can do?
You have no idea. Here I have limitless power.
Megatron, we may be able to damage Zeta's machinery during its recharge cycle.
A valiant attempt, Decepticons. But Autobot machinery is more resilient than you realize.
So like I was saying, I did make a video a while back on Zeta Prime, and so if you guys want to watch that, I will leave an annotation somewhere on the screen right now so you guys can watch that as well. And I would also like your guys' feedback on how this Let's Play is going for you guys. Are you guys enjoying the history? I'm getting a lot of positive feedback, but that doesn't mean there's no room for improvement. So leave me constructive criticism if you have any, because I want to know what I can improve on, how to make this better. And I know I'm going into a lot of history, so we're not really playing through with it as much as possible, but I think it is very cool to hear about all their G1 history.
To destroy the control center.
And so this part is pretty easy. I mean, I've died a couple times here when the pillars come down, they crush you. So it's not too bad. You just gotta worry about your teammates usually. It's kind of funny because you don't really have to worry about any ammo. Oh my gosh, what the heck was that? Wow. Alright, I'll pick up where I left off. here I am, guys, back to where we just were.
Is now vulnerable.
And so, using the frag launcher
His shield won't work.
and the guns on the car, overpowered in the campaign just like it is in the multiplayer.
Your machine is failing, Zeta Prime. Where are your boasts now?
The battle is far from over, Decepticon! Prepare for destruction!
Ceiling's coming down. Get away from me.
So this part's pretty easy, you just gotta drive around in a circle. And the cutscene on the end here after this is pretty epic, so I suggest you guys stick around and watch that. I'm sure you will since you're already this far into the video and I haven't bored you like Soundwave's monotone voice. And look at all these clones. It's always funny that you can stick something to them because I thought clones were not mass filled, they were more or less hollow and you kind of walk through them. So I just found these clones kind of odd.
He's recharging. Fire at the core.
So here you fire at the core.
His shield won't work.
Kind of reminds me a little bit of the machine we fought with Starscream, Thundercracker, and Skywarp, as they both have a core you have to fire on.
This cannot be!
So I think the cutscene's about to pick up. Remember to leave a comment, leave a rating, and subscribe for more Transformers. Have a good day, guys.
Finish it. The Omega Key is mine. The core of Cybertron is mine.
Your spies were misinformed, Megatron. That device only activates the key to the core. But don't worry, the Omega Key will come to you.
Omega activated. Power optimal. Mission: destroy Megatron.